This episode is sponsored by Property Filter. Find great deals faster.
Hello and welcome to the Financial Freedom Podcast, sponsored by us at Property Portfolio Building. This podcast is designed by real people on their journey to achieving financial freedom, and we'll focus on people who've either already attained it, who are joining us on that journey, or maybe a specialist topic that can help you build your technical knowledge to achieving and maintaining that financial freedom. We hope you enjoy it.
Hi folks, and welcome back to the Financial Freedom Podcast. Today is one of our 6 rounds with episodes. Before we get into it, whatever platform you're watching this on, please do take a moment to like and or subscribe, and why not keep your notifications on to get released for the next show. Today's a special one because this is somebody who we've known now for a number of years, and I'd like to welcome personally to the show Dan Norman. Welcome, Dan.
Thank you very much.
Dan, there's a few things. I was reading your intro. I was like, I didn't know some of these things about him. So I would prescribe Dan as the nice guy in property, Mr. Professional,
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Mr. Compare. I think that's fair to say. Yeah. From I think the most popular compare in multiple different property training organisations, I would say.
Most popular compare called Dan.
Called Dan. Yeah. All right. Yeah. See, he's such a nice guy. See, straight away, didn't want to upset any other compares.
No.
There you go. At the same time, you've been in property a while. So you've had, I think as part of the intro, you're probably going to talk, I think what we can safely say is you've as many wins as you've had, you've probably had as many errors, we'll call them errors, because you've been doing it for 3 decades now.
Nearly.
Nearly 3
It's
decades.
actually my proper anniversary.
Right.
23rd of September. So
Right.
I've been in 20.
So by the time this is out,
28 years.
yeah, it will have been there. Right, there you go. So, and you also celebrated a birthday recently, right?
No, I certainly did, yeah.
Yeah, because you don't like this is,
So 28 years in property.
yeah.
But I know I look days younger.
Yeah, so if you're asking people, if people would now be saying, oh, he must have just turned, 40?
Yeah.
But it's the next one, right?
Yes, 50 again.
Oh, my days.
That's very, very kind.
Well, it is kind, especially given you've spent a lot of that time in the licensed trade and nightclub industry.
Yeah, and that can add some years.
Some hard living there.
Equally, some of the years disappear.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful. You just lose them.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah. So you knew you were born in but you don't remember this part.
the
Kind of,
dark decade, as it's known.
yeah. But now you're sort of like you're like the refurb mentor, right? That's one of your passions. You do some SaaS stuff.
Yeah.
You compare every event I ever turn up to, but more importantly, you're charitable, which is I think something that comes across. And obviously, you just come on board with the Black Box as well, which I saw the announcement this week. So congratulations! I'm sure you'll talk about that a little bit. But obviously, the big one is the Get Up Give Back, which you've been doing every year by one, which is the record-breaking year.
It's true.
Yeah.
I did do, right?
Yeah. But no, I just think it's having done it for 1 year.
Actually jumping back in, giving us a lift here.
Yeah, maybe I'll come back. Maybe I'll come back and help at some point. Yeah, I mean, obviously we've got our own.
So you must have the Saw Foundation, maybe, as well.
Yeah. Get the Storm Foundation, and then we're in. But just like I said, a nice guy, volunteering all of that time for all those things. So welcome.
It's great.
Thank you so much for coming on.
No,
We've been wanting to do this for a while. We bit the bullet, and obviously we've come to you. And that's the way to describe it, isn't it?
We couldn't get you out to
or could be new afraid, but it's a big city. I know it's not Manchester, it's down south that little bit. But
Yeah.
really appreciate to be here.
Yeah.
Because I'm hoping I can share a few of the pitfalls and the successes. And one of my business partner, actually, he calls it the roller coaster.
Yeah.
Because it is a bit of a roller coaster, and you might have up years, you might have down years.
Yeah.
It might be 7 years on average to a good, and one's down, and that's maybe what some people that haven't been in property quite so long don't quite understand.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if they haven't been through, a few of my mates got bent in half over the recession because
Yeah.
developing, they were out of the ground. And that's a tough time that we've been fortunate we haven't seen in the last 17 years.
Yes.
There's been COVID, which we're all very supportive
Yeah, what
of.
I'm saying, was it?
But, I'm hoping I can share some.
Yeah.
That
Well,
history.
we'll get into it. But the first thing is we do an icebreaker, and you're gonna have to explain this to me. So your path to financial freedom started
Something with the drum kit.
with a drum kit. Okay, right.
So
Go on then.
basically, here we start. I like to say I was born in Cambridge, but made in Birmingham.
Okay.
And at the age of 10, I decided I wanted to play the drums, which is obviously a very sociable way to keep your neighbours happy.
Yeah.
And I would save up pocket money, do paper rounds, whatever I could to buy my drum kit. And that was something I played drums between the age of 10 and 18.
Mhm.
And it was that discipline of going out and getting whatever work I could. And that process of I'm going to save and make money for this. And that's kind of something that served me ongoing, whatever role it might be. And I've done some horrible jobs. I've done some very, very good jobs. But it is that discipline of, if you work, you get. It's not always been the most efficient, but it's been a consistent work ethic. Sadly, when I come to university, bringing up a 7-piece drum kit with cymbals everywhere, sadly I had to sell it. And that's how I got into DJing, because you can control the volume.
Right. Right. Gotcha.
The DJing, sadly, the civil engineering degree took a bit of a backseat, and we started organising parties and balls and supporting people. And that's how the nightclub and licence trade came about. I was quite fortunate that at that age you can earn decent money being in the game. And that gave a little bit of cash, so I started buying properties.
And there's a few other friends of the show, I believe, that were...
Yeah, so funnily enough, Simon
Zucci.
Oh, what? You're a DJ?
we were only competitors for a bit. And Simon used to run this night called Car Wash. It was fabulous. 1,500 people, sold out every single week. And his night on a Thursday would sell out before my nights on the Monday. And we'd do 1,500, 2,500, depending on what it was. But it was always a bit of a grit with me with Simon. He'd always sell out the Thursday on the Monday, and I wouldn't necessarily sell out.
So he's kind of right at sales.
We've known each other forever, and it was a friend.
There were some wonderful photos from back in the day, right?
Yeah. And we've actually worked together in the nightclub bit, and then Simon went off and started doing this property thing, obviously on a more educational basis, along with doing his own projects.
Yeah.
And I was very set into, okay, I'm going to go and be a bit more hands-on. And it was only in 2013 that I actually went on Simon's Mastermind and learned there was a different way, rather than buy this property, this knackered old property for cash, refurb it, and then put it on market. I held a few, but that's where
You're flipping as well.
that's where the drum kit piece came from. Yeah, we hold on, I think I had about a dozen single lets by the age of 29 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was but they were all graft. It was very much money in, refurb, money out. So it wasn't educated, it wasn't particularly intelligent.
Right, invested method, the BRR method.
We kind of took the edges off it in a bit like, it's all pretty basic stuff. And it was just keys to keys, 13 weeks, real simple, cosmetic bits. A couple of HMOs in there, but we didn't call them HMOs in 1997. And that's like I say, where the work ethic came from and the activity. Alongside that, I was doing the nightclub thing, sold 3 years ago what's the UK's longest running student promotions company, and it was very much hands-on and in the trenches with that. So it was good amount of, can't really call it work, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, right. So you've touched on some of this, but the first question is reasonably open. So obviously we won't go into maybe look at the stuff away from that. But so question one is really, really simple. Cool. Tell me your story.
Well, I think I've just done most of it there, haven't I?
Well, so tell me more about the Birmingham move to Birmingham, background, that kind of stuff. So, family, that kind of.
Yeah, sure. So family, like I say, based in Cambridge, we're just south of Cambridge, and that was a lovely place to grow up. It got a little bit close. By 18, it's only so big a city. There's like 100,000 people who live there.
Yeah.
And a lot of my pals said, what are you going to Birmingham for? It's this big old industrial place. But UOB, fabulous place, great course.
And did a bit of
civil engineering.
Yeah. Bright lights, big city.
Yeah.
But we put that entertainment slant on things, as I've mentioned before. It was strange. Coming up here for the first open day, it felt like home again. And I think I mentioned, I like to think I was born in Cambridge, but made in Birmingham. And those friendships that I made literally day 1, 2, 3, I've been fortunate enough to keep those connections and people who are in the leisure and nightclub industry. And that's really been fabulous.
Any of them not property guys now?
No, there's still a bunch of folk are keeping very, very good contact with them. That's right. The chap who gave me my very first job, still in exceptionally good contact with him. He was kind of my surrogate dad up here.
Right.
And I think it's interesting how that relationship building from the very first move up to Birmingham is something that I've held very dear consistently, whether it's property, whether it's whatever it might be. Strangely, I look back sometimes at Cambridge and I've lost kind of a bit of connection there maybe. It's very easy to come up here and put down your roots, but I suppose that's, Tim, it's interesting coming across.
You do lose that connection to a certain extent, but you always keep a certain amount of it. That's what I find when I go back to Australia.
Well, do you know, you say that, but I've lived, so I've come back to where I grew up. So I'm literally 1 mile away from where I grew up. And most of the people that I grew up with, so I've lost the connection, but then, because they're not there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't, so I've gone back and there's
But
literally
I think
no.
the UK is a bit more like that than where I'm from in Oz. Like Oz, you generally stay in your city, but even for uni.
It's just too far to the next city, mate. You know,
It's too far to the next city, exactly. But university, you don't, because of that distance, you don't like go to another town or city for university. So you end up hanging around your same high school friends at uni.
yeah, sure.
Very, some people obviously move, but you get a lot of people in that city because of the distance. It is a big factor, and that is the bubble that builds. And you go wherever you go, you bump into similar people that you had for years and years.
Cheers, but on a city status, isn't it? Like everybody knows your name.
Interestingly, with Birmingham, I can't remember it's the first or the second highest retainer of graduates. Universities. It's one of the youngest cities, not only in the UK but in Europe. I think it's 40% of people are under 25. So that's may or may not be right.
They seem to transition people from university really well, because I think like we're literally in one of the Birmingham University incubator things now, which is like a business incubator, help people like form small businesses.
Absolutely. There's also a strange, not strange, but there's a pride in Birmingham.
Yeah.
One of my companies is Rover Homes. Now, we've been refurbing properties in the old Rover site area, B31 and B45. I'm very, very specific on where I do property. I bought stuff up and down, and from Liverpool to Swindon and all sorts of, it's just crazy. It's a great way to burn yourself out driving up and down the M6.
Yeah.
But there's always been that heritage and pride. The Rover plant closed down in 2007, but it's still, even that area is taking a bit of...
So just for some of our listeners, mate, what's a Rover?
Oh, sorry. Rover car plant was something that was based in Longbridge. My company's Rover Homes, A, because we allow dogs, but B, because we acknowledge the heritage of that area.
Right.
And it was an industrial plant for 60, 70 years. Probably longer, in fact. The Rover car brand was massive, but unfortunately all got closed down in 2007, sadly.
Yeah, it was one of the last great British manufacturers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Effectively.
And that's a hell of a shame, but
yeah.
That's a whole different podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, but down my roots in Birmingham, moved around here, always moved to a different property. Apart from one, I've always refurbed my own property.
Yeah.
Quite a fun piece. I mean, God, it's a very different world now coming out of uni. We moved out of uni with enough to put down a deposit on the house.
Wow.
So the 2.5.
Out of uni, you had that.
Yeah. I mean, we got a grant, which is great. I always worked over the holidays. So I was working at the university, Easter.
Save up a bit of cash, which is good for a university.
Doing the nightclub stuff.
Yeah, not quite to the level of the funding point on that at that time. But £2,500 would put down a deposit on a £53,000 house. It almost feels a bit crazy to.
Well, that's your legal fee now, right?
53 grand for a 3.5 bedroom house. Moved in 4 of my smelly university mates who are absolutely fabulous. Put them in there, and it was a bit of a lark.
Yeah, but it was fun.
Yeah, not the same as the activity today in putting together an HMO that you guys take so professionally.
Yeah. Well, we've just been like slide locks, and everyone gets a lock. Maybe not even a lock.
No locks?
Yeah, I did have locks. It's a good point. I did have locks on mine. I did have locks. Yeah.
We say it was just changing locks, but back in the day, it wasn't even.
I didn't have locks on mine, mate.
Yeah.
No.
There was, I think my last one that I moved into was Novel because it had locks on it. You know. Cool. So what is it like? So I've known you quite a while now. So, but I don't know. Like, I mean, obviously I knew you from the internet, but what do you do for like fun and what's your day to day look like? Like, and I don't mean like your routine because I come on style, but what do you do outside of property and hosting stuff?
That's a very good question. Hobbies wise, I love connecting with people. I love going out and spending time with friends. I'm a bit of a drop in and out of the gym kind of guy. Unfortunately, that's been curtailed a little bit through some health issues, sciatica, and all that kind of thing that comes when you hit us, and probably not enough precise training, as opposed to let's just throw some weights around kind of stuff. So that's what I do generally for fun. It's a very personable existence I try and have. Probably enjoy a little bit too much TV and films. So love cinema.
That's all right.
Yeah, love cinema.
You got a genre or is it?
Boy movies. Bit of
Perfect.
action. Yeah, bit of action. Also,
Watched Terminator 2 again the other day. Amazing. It was on TV. The TV version's better than the.
I think the wind down time for just like chilling out and watching something like that. I think a lot of people underestimate it because
and also there's the historical dramas. I think we're very fortunate now that, I mean, you go back to some of the old war movies that were on, the Bridge Over the River Kwai and the Bridge Too Far and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
You look at the technology we have now and the ability for that to be represented. We could really appreciate. Saving Private Ryan's best example of the cinema's photography at the beginning of it. He literally said to the cameraman, "I'm not going to tell you anything. Just shoot."
Yeah.
And he followed the people through, and that's why it was such an incredible film. You have that thing. I think, geez,
Can hear the camera up breath times.
I'm like watching that like
through. Yeah, so really enjoy that, but also all the Marvel things. I used to
Love that. Yeah. Which was your comic?
Sorry?
What was your comic?
So my brother used to get Spider-Man, so I graduated into that, and then some of the more kind of obscure characters, but not a big.
Was it your Marvel comic?
Yeah, Marvel's all the way. My eldest brother was a bit of a DC fan and introduced to things like Watchmen and all that kind of thing, but then became films.
Do you remember the Eagle?
I don't know.
Dan Dare, Meekons.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was my genre. Right, that was my every Saturday morning, sat by the letterbox waiting for the Eagle to get delivered.
Well, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Now it's just
Yeah.
love my podcasts as well. And that's been something that I think has grown over the last 2 or 3 years. And seeing the level of information that you can get through that is just fabulous.
Oh, it's super, isn't it?
Yeah. The continuing education, this is very, very big for me. God, I had a Tony Robbins coach back in 2001 and went through that process of the CDs and the tapes and so forth. And that's why it's always been really strong. And also that ethic of, okay, we can share this. It's not a zero-sum game.
It's a really good point, actually, because the amount of value you can get from podcasts and also that people give in those podcasts is huge, isn't it? And like you said, back in the day, you would have had to pay like £2,000 for some CD set or something.
Yeah, or whatever.
Whereas now there's so much really good information out there.
Also, what a wonderful industry property is for that type of stuff, because how many industries do you know that when you do something really great, you'll tell everybody how you've done it and then they can go and do it themselves? You know, like
editors.
Yeah, you can go out. Yeah, let's get some mad space in it.
There's a lot of houses, right?
There's a lot of wealth in houses.
1 million people in Birmingham. I can't buy everyone.
Exactly.
So probably a bit, and you never know when that is going to synergize. I guess as things have moved on and the time's gone by, it's very much a matter of that desire. And I know we were talking about it downstairs. What is success? Changes. Because it's not about going and buying 100 houses or portfolio or getting a lease option on Buckingham Palace or whatever. That whole piece changes.
Yes.
And I think that's all part of
It's sometimes hard to work out what that success actually is and means for you individually, isn't it? And that was part of the discussion we had.
So that brings us nice onto the next question, actually, which is, so we've never had two answers the same for this, but there's some similar themes.
Okay.
So what is financial freedom to you?
That's a good question, because there's different stages of it. There's financial independence and then financial abundance. I think financial freedom is the ability to do what you want without being at the detriment of what you have. Does that make sense?
Explain. Go on.
Explain a bit.
If you want to go and spend 6 months jaunting around and going to Machu Picchu and so on and so forth, you can do that without the detriment of...
Or financial burden from it or something.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can go and process that and put it down plate. If that's what you want to do, hats off to you, more power to your elbow. If you want to go out and not even look at the bill, that's financial freedom. That's my thought process behind it. And it depends on where your life is. There was a chap who did a load of rent-to-rent deals 10, 15 years ago. And his financial freedom was the balance of, I've got these dozen rent-to-rent deals, but I have a 15-year-old car, I live with my mum and dad, and I'm financially free because I could pretty much do what I want within his aspects of it.
Yeah, his living expenses and his lifestyle.
Oh, he really
wants because of that.
Yeah. Now, some people might say, okay, but you're not wearing a Rolex and you're not driving a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
It's a bit of tin.
I don't do any of these things.
And it's that I think it's that mental shift of, just because having a private jet is important to you. I was actually listening to a podcast the other day, and the bloke said, I don't want to buy a private jet. I can hire it and take my mum, to Paris for a birthday. I can hire and take my dad to wherever they went to, and that's all I need to do. I don't need something sat on a time.
Very interesting story, that one as well, because actually Richard Branson, I think when he started Virgin, didn't actually buy any planes initially. He just rented them, and he got the money to rent them for like the ticket sales or something. So he didn't even have to cash flow the rental. So it's mad, isn't it?
Wasn't he got like bumped on one of those American flights where they oversubscribe it? Wasn't that the whole point?
Right.
Or something like that.
Say that again.
He was due to get on a flight, and then because they oversubscribed the flights, there wasn't enough seats for him or something like that. So
Right, and that's
what that boy did. Yeah, something like that.
To do what you want, not at the detriment of what you have.
Yeah,
I want our definition.
yeah. But
Bad as it came out.
I like that. I'm going to challenge you though. So a little bit. That's all right. So you mentioned, if you want to go and spend 6 months in Machu Picchu, you can do. Do you think that the people who have the resilience to become financially free are the kind of people who can spend 6 months in Machu Picchu?
That's a really good question.
I think, that's interesting, because that is a mindset shift. And we've seen people in the community who've gone out and gone around the world or done whatever else. And fair play to them. I think that is a specific choice. There's some folk who enjoy the game, or enjoy the deal, or it drives them crazy to sit on the beach, or trying to play golf every day for 3 months. Some people would love it, but I think in the kind of more entrepreneurial circles, that wouldn't tick all their boxes.
The actual challenging thing is like you said, is the people that get into a position that they can do that from a financially free perspective. Like you said, they've had the resilience to get to that position, and they're the ones that do struggle sitting on the beach because of their ingrained personality type that got them to that position.
What I actually said, my actual phrase is, well, the people who can become financially free early are the people who will never retire. That's the thing, though.
But it raises an interesting point of quandary. If you've kind of ingrained yourself, I've got to keep on going, keep on going. And it's often a question that comes up: when is enough enough?
Yeah.
And I guess
I think it's a hard question, isn't it?
Yeah, each time you wake up, if you think, hey, it's time to pump the brakes. Because I want to go and see my family.
Yeah.
Or I want to go and help a load of other people.
Yeah.
That's a conscious decision to make. And I guess we all need to just keep on making.
I feel like at the end of every Sunday.
Well, a lot of it comes down to it's that freedom of choice. So you're choosing to do that. But if you wanted to do the Machu Picchu 6-month away trip or whatever, you've got that flexibility to be able to do that.
If that's your burn, brilliant.
Also, don't just do 6 months in Machu Picchu, by the way. That's not good. That doesn't. Once you see anyone, it's like,
And you can travel the rest of the next 5.5 months or whatever.
I've always, whenever I do any podcast or hosting, I always try and make reference to my lovely wife, Steph. But she's absolutely in charge of all this stuff. I often don't even know where we're going.
Perfect.
Yeah, and often get the wrong place as well. I was absolutely certain that our honeymoon was in the Maldives, but it's actually in Mauritius.
All right.
She reminds me of us probably not very often, at least once or twice a week.
Easily mistakeable, just purely on the name.
Both of them them.
Well, the best one's a comedian called Sarah Pascal.
Right.
And she was like, I'm so like not. Once I started like getting someone to systemize my life and so on and so on, I just became so like not understanding that I was going on holiday and I got on a plane and then it was at the point that the plane announcer said the flight time's going to be about 13 hours when I thought, that's a long way to Spain. She's going to Costa Rica.
Easy mistake for me.
It's got Costa in it. Right? I thought that was really good. Right. So, financial freedom then, asset classes, you've touched on it. What are you doing? What have you been doing to get to that position?
I'm very much based in property. And there'll be some people who are big into crypto or gold or shares or whatever. I just love property. And I think you've got to do what you love. And it's, funnily enough, it's actually been a source of wrangling and needling from Simon on occasions. Like, stop being so hands-on.
That is a good point, right? Because I still see your photos
covered in trenches, aren't you? Literally.
Covered in paint.
Love it.
Yeah. Listen, you do what you love.
Are there better things I could be doing with my time? Yeah, absolutely. Are there more profitable things? Yeah, probably. I'd argue that's very much the case. But at the same time, if that doesn't fulfill you, and you have the opportunity to take a choice on it, there's a great YouTube video of a bloke called C.T. Fletcher, who's an American bodybuilder, and he's doing bicep curls, and he's whacking them out. And he's just absolutely stacked, this bloke. And people say to me, CT, you're not doing that with good form. And it's because I don't want to. but he's massive. So yeah. Pick your own route. Yeah. Road on it. I think is what I'm trying to say. And if being fortunate, we've been a fair old lump of time. If folk want to get to financial freedom a lot quicker, then don't do what I did.
Yeah.
There are much more efficient routes than that.
Yeah.
And it's whatever you find fun, or you want to go through the inverted commas pain.
I sometimes think efficiency can kill the fun of something as well. If you just are always trying to streamline something.
There are people that enjoy efficiency.
Yeah, of course there is. But like it's a bit like if you want to burn 200 calories, it's much easier to be bad at swimming than good at swimming.
Yeah, very true.
So because the resistance is different.
The way I look at it is like, from my perspective is like, I actually enjoy, say, like decorating a property or something like that. But I also enjoy outsourcing to everyone else. And one of them is more efficient, makes me more money than the other. I prefer to do the other one. That's sort of the way I'd look at it.
There's also a mind.
I think you like walking around and pointing where the hammer needs to put the nail. And that's what you're like, the picture's going to go there.
Go in, right? Yeah, everything's done. I'm just at the site the whole way through, and all I need to do is to say where the artwork goes. That's a weird.
So what's the portfolio look like, Dan? Right.
There's two parts of the business. You said Rover Homes. Like I say, Rover Homes, that's something it's only 4 years ago we really put a brand behind it, but we've been doing what we've been doing there forever and a day.
I love all there's so many tangible different things, isn't it? It's the Rover plant history, it's the fact you allow dogs in your houses.
Any pets, dogs obviously.
I didn't realise I'm with
man, so
factory. I knew it was about pets, that's how but yeah, it's really good to look.
We have two very specific postcodes that we work in, B31, B45. I know those areas, love those areas, know the folk. It's very efficient from the point of view, we've got this commercial block that I picked up a couple of years ago. There's 8 flats beside it, were a year and a half before that. And I've got folk across the road coming in and saying, what about this? What about this? What about this? So it's quite probably a bit too personable. It's not as efficient.
Yeah.
It's still quite effective. And for a solopreneur, small lifestyle business, it works very, very well. Like I said, I bought stuff in Liverpool, bought stuff in Swindon, and don't own those anymore. The portfolio is very condensed. It's 2 3-bedroom family homes. We outreached a little bit because it was supposed to be just 15 of those, really, or however many it was, and looked at blocks of flats simply because they're more profitable. So those 8 cost me half what the single lets would cost and provide the same level of revenue.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And
It's good balance as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a bit of commercial in there. There's a block of studios that's been refurbed in the last 10 years. That's actually on a long-term lease. Secondary to that is a business I have called New Leaf Living. We've been in supported accommodation. While it's a bit of a buzzword now, we've been in that since 2013. That's done about 400,000 bed nights of accommodation for people who sadly don't have their own homes. And that's a collaboration getting into the wealth dynamics between me as a supporter, Dave as an accumulator, and Greg as a creator. And that's probably the inverted commas best business that I've had the pleasure to be involved with, because it is very effective and efficient.
It really makes a difference as well.
Yeah. We all bring different skills to the table.
Actually, talk about that, because obviously you're collaborating with a couple other partners.
Yeah.
How has that dynamic worked, and you get more out of working with those partners?
And you've also touched on wealth dynamics, so you're going to have to explain yourself now.
I've thrown myself under that bus, haven't I? Wealth dynamics is a fabulous way of seeing how people tick. Back on the mastermind days, we listed values, because there's no point in you being in enjoying security and the person you're working with enjoying excitement, because that's probably not going to gel so good.
Too far apart, basically.
Exactly right. And Dave and Greg and I sat down and we said, look, we're all landlords back in 2013. We've all got our own little portfolios. What can we do that's going to do a little bit more good, but also absolutely be a business? You've got to be very clear on that. We're not a charity. The organisation we work with are a housing association, so they're non-for-profit. They provide the support. We provide them with accommodation that initially was warm, safe, dry. It's evolved and escalated as we've needed to produce different forms of property, primarily HMO rooms or HMO flats.
I was going to ask that because I was trying to work out very quickly in my head. 365. It's a 10-year, 365 days.
Yeah.
400,000 nights. So that's either a hell of a lot of houses or you've a hell of a lot of rooms.
In all fairness, back in 2013, 14, 15, we were buying houses at 125,000. So we do have time on our side.
Yeah.
And our aim was to get to 100 rooms very, very quickly. And
So predominantly HMO.
yeah, a little bit of studios in there as well, because that's essential for the move on accommodation, not move in accommodation.
Do you mind if I ask? Was the company providing the service? Does you call it a service?
Support.
Support.
Yeah.
So the company providing the support, were they already existing?
No, they were actually a new start. But the critical piece was, because I've had a little bit of experience with supported accommodation before then, which was not so great. All the people who were new into that company had 10, 15, 20 years in, and more in some cases, of experience of supported accommodation, youth services, rehabilitation, all those.
And you knew these people already? I mean, obviously, I'm interested. I'm now really clear. I'm really interested in this business plan, by the way. So you've got a company over here providing support.
Yep.
You're providing housing, both starting around the same time.
Yep.
Or did you already have some houses and then they said, oh, look, I'm looking for houses,
We had our own private portfolio.
Right.
And it was a standing start on New Leaf. And we took 6 months to buy absolutely nothing. We took 6 months to work out, nice blokes, we'll go for a curry, go and have a chat, go and have a beer, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But are we actually aligned on this business? And that, I think, is what made it so effortless. Rather than, you bump into someone in the networking and you try and go and start buying houses. We refined that down to, well, that's not fair. We didn't. Dave and Greg, we refined down what we were going to do. And then they let me loose to go and put together houses. So we all had our distinct roles within the business. We had a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Inevitably runs out. So we worked with a couple of little private investors. It wasn't a huge amount. It was when we came to the end of those that property run. It was quite a funny story, actually. Dave was in the auction room. I was away on holiday. And this pub came up for purchase in the middle of Digbeth, which is one of the very much up and coming areas. And I think we had about 40 grand between us. And sadly, this pub, which had been there for 200 years, was esteemed. It used to be not only a live music venue, but an after hours club. It was across from the local police shop. So you could basically bang on the door and get a beer any day, or the time of the day you wanted.
It's quite an important community asset.
Yeah. Sadly, there was an issue at one of the events they were holding, and they lost their license.
Right. Oh, wow.
So this lump, 5,000 square feet of building came up on auction, and we went down, and I think it got to about 350 grand, and we were in the hot seat, and Dave was next to this other lad who put his hand up, and Dave just turns and said, "He's taking the piss now," because we only had what we had to cut the deposit and finance fees, and we picked it up at 355,000.
Right.
£200,000 of refurb
For 5,000 square feet.
and a bit extra, and that now houses 14 people.
Wow.
And has a community cafe downstairs, and has been running 10, 12 years.
Community cafe being a commercial business?
Yeah. It's actually a charity that subleased that area downstairs, so they can put on a film night, but they can put on a training session, or they can put on a.
So it's your charity that are doing the housing, doing that?
They
Somebody separate again?
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Yeah. So that's all handled hands off as much as it can be.
Yeah.
I'd love to say that supported accommodation is passive. It's absolutely not. No more than being a landlord.
Yeah, of course.
It's absolutely not.
Yeah.
So that's something to manage expectations of people who are going into the support. It's less so, but the money's less.
Yeah.
Because you've got to provide a financial reason for them to keep going.
Yeah, no, makes sense.
That's a bit of a long answer.
No, I like it, mate. I really, no, I like it. So, I'm keen to...
That's one of those are the two property pieces.
Yeah, no, you mean.
This is a relatively new thing, black box, that I've now realised that part of my game in things is to support other people.
Yeah.
That's my natural way.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we can see that.
Yeah.
And the black box is obviously, we actually have an episode with Akash.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we do, yeah. So the black box is all about securing that legacy. We're not all...
Your wills, power of attorney, insurances, basically life after death place for your family, isn't it?
What really attracted me to it is the mentality. Yeah, of course it's a business, right? But also there is that legacy point and the information point.
Yeah.
I sadly had my best pal passed away a year this week, and so which it's bloody terrible when someone's that young, and he finally have a lot of his stuff together. There's other people that have passed away who had nothing.
Yeah.
And when they're 40 to 50, which is when we all think we're bulletproof all the time, but when you don't have any information at all, and you're getting asked those personal questions from people, mum, dad, whoever, well, what do we do with this? What was going on with them? Sometimes it's been even people who've had business dealings and because nothing's went down. I mean, wow, that's a whole world of, you don't want to be in that position of pain when the pain's already so real and tangible anyway. And what I love about the black box is it sets out all those different aspects and more, because it's in those minor conversations that seem so minor at the time that it's actually, but that's where the maximum upset is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Akash, he explains it really well, obviously, because he went through the pain point of losing his father, right? And he didn't have anything, and there was everybody trying to make a claim on the property, and just having a clear structure and how to do stuff and how to find stuff, especially if you're a property entrepreneur. Like where is everything? Yeah, how many, there's no way my son or daughter, I don't think my wife knows how many companies we have, or, you know, how to contact and things like that. So putting it all together into one place, she still doesn't know, but if anything happened, it would just be there.
And it makes sense. The terrible thing is, you can go online and do this free. If people want to do that, fabulous. Or get their own rules or power of attorney, whatever.
It's hard.
Yeah,
it's too hard.
What I love, but what Akash does is there's an accountability point for it, and it's almost helping you have those horrible.
And it was the management structure I found as well. It's a bit like a building project. You could go and get each individual trade place or whatever, couldn't you, and get the job done. But you got a lot more work in between, a lot more stress in between. So just to get.
You're not doing that. You're 100% doing that.
Sorry, maybe not the best analogy for
the difference being you want the ability. You want to get enjoyment of doing that. And no one really wants to have those conversations. No one wants to think, oh God, I'm not going to be here in 2, 3, 10. It's not up to us. There's I don't know how much I should share this, but the analogy I like to use, and Akash is like, I'm not sure we can actually use that, is that sorting out all that stuff is like going to the toilet. It's better to do it 15 minutes too early than 1 second too good. So. I'll leave you.
Yeah, all right. Let's move on quickly. Moving swiftly on.
I'm
going to suggest your marketing might need a look at, but I get the content. Right.
Stop the podcast now. This episode is sponsored by Property Filter. Property Filter is the #1 property tool for today's property professional. It brings in all the data points and sources from all the property portals and auction sites into one convenient place. Then you have the option to overlay all the clever strategies found in the Property Filter blueprint to find motivated sellers faster. Now, we use it on a daily basis. It saves us over 80% of our time when looking for properties. And if that sounds like something that you want in your lives, please go to register.property-filter.co.uk/PPB, which is the discount code for this podcast. You will get 2 weeks free and a discount on your first month. That's it from me. Back to the podcast.
So obviously, you might not think this of yourself because you're too nice in this way, but I would class you as one of the highest performers I know. And I know you like to big other people up because that's your natural position, right? So whatever I've seen, sort of anything you've been involved with, you're normally first there, last gone, hosting all day, performing at a high level and a high motivation, right? So with a high energy, which is synonymous with your sort of like personality. So how do you do this? What does a typical day look like for you? You must have some pretty non-negotiables.
It's interesting because we were talking about the roller coaster, Alf, earlier, and this has actually been one of the kind of more compressed years. Losing Adam, losing my dad in March. It does make you kind of sit and take stock, and you have the reality, especially with Dad. Dad was 92, right? And he shouldn't have been surviving as long as he did. That doesn't make it any less shit. Still, MS. Guy could eat chocolate biscuits with the best of us. So he should have been multiple diabetic. You've also got to be a bit gentle with yourself. And while I'd love to say every morning I'm up at 5 and I'm doing star jumps and cracking out chin-ups and all the rest of it, it's not been the case this year. In previous years, I'd now have learned after the license trade. Well, no, that's not fair. It's like, license trade wise, we'd work till 2, 3, 4, and it's a misnomer that you don't do anything during the day. There's a shit ton of work to do during the day. So you've got to be up and in the office 9:30, 10 o'clock because you've got to program all the gigs. You've got to kind of count the money. There's a lot back of house to it. So I'm fairly low sleep level, but I've given myself that little bit of wiggle room now that if it's 6 o'clock and I don't feel like getting out of the bed and getting in front of the computer, and I generally do a lot of my emailing and stuff in the morning. I don't really enjoy that administrational point of view of things. So I try and get that out of the way early. No, worst is first. Is a little mantra, a run by. If you're working, you're wearing. So I'll try and brand up wherever I can, whether it's for this, whether it's to get up, good back. I've got a wardrobe full of basic hoodies and gear and kit. So that's very much part of the day. Very much enjoy being in the thick of it. So I think that's where some, like you say, you put a high energy out. I think the energy comes from being out, if that makes sense. And being a supporter role in Wealth Dynamics, one of the natural parts of that is we prefer to be in with people.
Engaging with people.
Yeah, absolutely. Equally, like I say, this year, it's been a little bit more compressed, and you do kind of think, I think I'll just take a little bit of a step back, because you've got to be also be gentle with yourself as well. And sometimes it's
such an important point, isn't it?
The empty cup, thing,
And it's about, I think, sometimes especially when you've got that sort of drive and enthusiasm and zest.
Yeah,
most people call it. They're the types of people who also have resilience and so on and so forth, but they're quite harsh on themselves from time to time.
Yeah,
it's a typical trait. And being able to forgive yourself for resting or forgive yourself for saying no is really hard, isn't it?
There can be the best word I can use for it is almost a guilt, because what's the old phrase Tony Robbins came out with here? You can should to yourself, but you end up just shoulding or shitting all over yourself. And that's something that I think that part of the continuing education piece is to continually look and reassess at when, okay, I should take the gas off a little bit, because if not, you do burn out. And we see it occasionally where people are kind of done too much or overcommitted, and then you spin in place, and it's just no fun.
Yeah,
I think it's worse to do things badly than not do things at all.
So let's look at two separate things then. Let's look at Dan when he's performing. What is your daily habits, and then what are your daily habits now when you're thinking I'm taking a little bit of time to take the step off the gas?
So top level daily habits. We all know we should drink water. We all know we should have positive mental stimulation.
Yeah.
So whether that's podcast, whether that's reading, whatever it might be, 8 hours sleep. I'm not as vicious with myself now as I was with the gym. I think the consistency is critical. So 10,000 steps, we all know, is a kind of a nominated figure for it. But I think it's not just necessarily the steps. I think it's actually getting out.
Agree.
Even when it's a bad day outside.
Wet.
Even when it's wet. Yeah, it's that old Jocko Willing thing of if you're wet, you're still breathing.
Yep.
So that is...
Yeah, put a coat on, get out, regardless,
I mean, what's the worst thing? You're going to get wet. You're not going to move it around the sugar. And when things are a little bit calmer, it might be a matter of, okay, well, the bed's comfy and it's warm. And there'll come a trigger point where I go, okay, I can pull yourself together, Norman, and get back at it. And watch out for then.
So up 10,000 steps, something positive mindset wise, reading or that kind of stuff.
That's kind of the power hour.
And gym when you can.
The power of that, I think, in the morning is obvious. And it just keeps things controlled.
Yeah, I totally agree, because when you and I bet you can pretty much say when that's disrupted.
Yeah, totally.
You're a different person in a day. You're a different,
There's 5 kilograms, I think, of weight differential, or what would that be? I don't work it out as a percentage, but it's just that little bit of extra. It's that little bit of roll. It's that little bit of sluggishness. It's that little bit of extra Netflix that all creeps in, and I think. Yeah, we vary between. It's a bit like when a bowling ball bowled badly and you bounce between the barriers. If you use the kids' barriers like I do,
bumper lanes.
Yeah, you got to cheat while you can, and you bounce in between the sides of it, and then drop it and go straight down the middle.
Yeah,
and that's the difference between the two bits.
So, are you still on the down space at the minute? Are you thinking I'm about there now?
Yeah, I think that,
because that's a hell of a year, by the way, losing one of your best friends and your father, and that's 2 really big influences and mentors, right?
On the flip side of it, March came through and to get up your back, and that was a really, really positive.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Like you say, it's that battery of being around people and having to perform.
Yeah, sometimes you need to be forced.
Yeah. We're very lucky that we've got the team behind us. For Sandra, obviously, is an absolute warrior. So there was that little bit of comfort in get up, get back, and having the right team. And
are you going to break the record, Dan, or what? Are you going to? Do you think it's too?
It's not all about the money. Come on. It's about always about the money, right?
Yeah.
I'm chasing.
Yeah, we were very lucky. There's a lot of systems and processes that in the world that came together in that 1 year.
It was huge.
Yeah, it was a huge. It was
168.
something about 168k raised. Yeah. We also had some pretty good people on systems in Guy and Black, and and then Jen just driving it. I mean, she was awesome, right? Awesome.
Very fortunate to have Jen on board as part of that too.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. All right then. So here's the point. That I guess is the one thing that I always think is can be the most influential to somebody like Ballistas. So, what are you most proud of, and what's been your biggest challenge?
I think it is that opportunity to be part of Get Up Your Back. And it's, folks say, oh, yeah, you're kind of the face of it and so forth. And it's like, well, yeah, but it'd be nothing if it was just one person. It's having the opportunity to be a part of that community, see some of the incredible things that people have done, because that was a conscious choice to get involved in Get Up Your Back. I could have just kept on bashing houses about. And it's why it's so proud of this is I think some people get caught on this hamster wheel of, and it's fabulous, if someone's got a cookie cutter, go out and run it as far as you can. Brilliant. It was that conscious choice of, okay, there is enough. The portfolio is good. New Leaf, we will be going into our third iteration of leases, long-term leases. So that's great.
Yeah.
The guys are okay. We're all above ground. Despite the best efforts of the, not to get political, but obviously it's tougher environment now.
Yeah.
So nowadays, there's certainly not too many policies that are making it easier for people than what we do at the moment.
It's a more it's like juggling chainsaws in the minefield.
I think what you're saying at the moment, and I think Phil, you've used this analogy, because you've got enough, like you're saying, you put your own oxygen mask on first, and now you can dedicate a lot more time to things like Get Up and Give Back. Because of what you've done.
I cannot tell you
property space
how much effort that is, by the way. Get back.
Oh no, I completely understand it, because even someone participating in it's a lot of work.
And I think
heading it up.
I think after a number of years of running it, I think this year when I saw the actual challenges that people could take up for it, I think there was a light version that some people could do, right? In comparison to you will do 100 days at 15,000 steps a day, and be the organizer and be the headline fundraiser.
Sure.
Oh God, so exhausting.
I mean, when I was involved in it, you were doing like every single activity almost, weren't you? I'm like, Dan, how are you doing that? You're doing every activity, you're doing all your property work. Like, I couldn't believe it.
There's a wonderful film called We Were Soldiers.
Yeah.
A Mel Gibson film, where his boots are the first one that hit the deck and then the last boot's off, and he's in the fray. And it's not hero worshipping that in any way, shape or form. It's a horrible time in the combat that there was, and that environment. But you've got to be a part of it.
That's really good leadership, is what I would say. Because
you can't ask anyone to do something you're not going to do. So, and okay, sadly I can't do the marathons because that's impact work, and that would trigger a whole bunch of health stuff. But I can probably walk up some mountains. I might not be the quickest, but I'm going to get...
So the analogy I'll give is, a couple of years ago, I did the Yorkshire Three Peaks. I think you did it like a few days before. And then
we were on the same one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you were doing like the National Three Peaks after or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this was really hard. And Des doing that next week. Then he's doing another.
We went down Snowdon. Snowdon was...
I did Snowdon, then you did Yorkshire, and then you did the National.
Yeah. So yeah. But that's part of the game of it. Is you can't expect other people to do.
Yeah, no, it's just really good leadership, I think.
Proudest moment, I think, was when we actually got up Snowdon this year on Get Up, Get Back, because we'd been warned the weather wasn't going to be great. It was just shitting socks.
Videos of that.
Brutal. That was a lot, and the pride wasn't only getting up there, but the whole group went up. It's actually Akash's little boy, Caden, 6 years old, absolutely bossed it, and I was like, this is epic. This is brilliant. And there were family, and there were friends, and there were dogs, and it just
it is good fun doing those walks.
And we raised a ton of cash.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. No, great. Okay. Challenges.
Biggest challenge.
Ooh. Okay, so
you're thinking, how do I narrow this down to?
Yeah. Because it's been 28 years, and wow. Okay, that is a. I think the challenge is always yourself. Is knowing when to cut the tide, because generally people want to do the best they can and help other people do the best they can. And sometimes, as much as we all try for win-win synergistic solutions, sometimes sadly, you can ask, but the answer is no. And it's getting through to that point of not wanting to help and please.
You can't physically say yes to everything.
Exactly.
It's going to be counterproductive.
And it's not always for them.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's for you. So that I would say is a larger challenge. And again, downstairs, I mean, guys, if you need any guidance in this, come and sit downstairs with these boys. It's when you said, yeah, the answer can be no. And it's having that jugularity of, okay, well, it doesn't work. We can't get a win-win solution. The best win is no.
Yeah, it's almost one of my long-term business associates that I've known for many, many years. He said, right, my default answer in everything is no. It's your job to convince me otherwise. You know, so that's a good point. I reckon I should reach out to him. He'd probably be all right. Yeah, if you go, yeah, podcast. Yeah. No, he'd probably be a good investor as well. I don't think about it. I could probably convince him. Yeah, but no. I mean, he says, so the default answer is no. You convince me otherwise.
Right.
You know, so, but it is a good point, and it's because especially you've got that natural affinity to want to help as well, right? So I think your supporter nature is it just shines through, really.
Because you want to be in it all the time.
I know, yeah.
Sometimes there's people, dare I say it, who are actually better at it than you, whatever it might be, whether all sorts of different roles. So stop putting your fingers in.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's good just if someone wants something for you, but because you're really good at networking, you probably know someone else that they can talk to.
Oh, you can get tied up in all sorts of stuff as well.
Do you know the Dan Norman effect has a positive and a negative, though, you know? Because the positive is when you turn up to events, Dan's bringing the energy, is the host of the most this. A negative is you turn up next time, Dan can't be there. And then you're like, oh no, it's someone else.
That's what we've got for, right?
Yeah, it's someone else. And then you're like, oh, I wish Dan was doing it, you know, that kind of thing. So
very cool.
You do very well, I have to say. But yeah, so your personal challenges. See, what we're saying here then is your biggest challenge is knowing when to say
no man say no.
No. Yeah, I totally agree. Lovely. Right. So you've been around now the education space since before the education space in property began, because you knew Simon pre-pin.
God, yeah, it was.
Yeah. So
the first education I had was from a multi-level marketing organisation that I had a brief touch with called Amway.
Oh yeah.
American firm.
Yes, I heard of them. Yeah.
I mean, the education was fabulous. The products, in all fairness, were fabulous. But they used to have conferences and all that kind of stuff. But it was the take of the week and the book of the month. And there was a process to it. And the tapes were motivational speakers. Some fabulous stuff. Coleman Orr. I still remember that tape now.
Yeah.
I don't remember a lot of stuff from university.
Yeah.
And it's just really fabulous stories. So, yeah.
So let me ask my question. You're sure if that's all right. Yeah. So Mike.
Well, it's just your podcast.
Yeah. No, it's all right. You carry on. So the question is, what is the best piece of advice, right, you've been given?
I think recently it's probably pay more for the right property.
Pay more for the right property.
So not necessarily like the best deal on face value, but something that is the right property because it's in your specific area. And
it's that way to just 100%. 2 examples I'll give of this, because I know we've chatted quite a lot, so it's time to give some real value to the listeners now. Number one is a pal of mine he's done a bunch of purchase lease options, and we're taught, exchange on the pound because that makes you lit. No, bullshit. Give them 30,000 quid to lock the deal in, so you're paying more. Because if you say, there's a pound, they're like, oh, Jesus, that doesn't really lock it in. Yeah, well, I appreciate it's a contract, but if you put some meat behind the offer, is that going to twist it your way? It might do. That's interesting. The second one, a very, very long-term investor pal of mine who is kind of a bit of a mentor, unofficially, if I buy him enough coffee, his game is similar to mine, a very specific targeted area. And by hubbing those developments, if buying numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and someone's holding out on the number 11, and that gives you a block deal that aggregates into a more viable financial proposition or planning permission or whatever it might be, pay what it's worth. Don't argue with someone or stiff someone over a couple of grand, because in 40 years, 20 years, 30 years, and probably
it's irrelevant.
Yeah. From what was that?
Yeah, so I love that. That was good, yeah.
If I look back to what I did in 1997, I should have been buying up and down the road. That £53,000 house is now worth 425 grand, and the rent roll is nearly 40,000 quid.
So is there any specific...
If only some inflation.
Yeah.
And it's specific advice you could give someone that's trying to buy a lot in a certain area. Because only like as an example, some people will buy a property in a location that they really, really like, and they might like leaflet the whole block off shopping or something like that. Is there anything like that that you do to try and get?
Certainly. So we actually have a little postcard that whenever we have a, doesn't bother me whether anyone else goes and copies this and use it, crack on. Yeah, please do.
We're just not in B.
Yeah, might be B1 or B45, okay? Oh, we could jump. Maybe. We have a little postcard that we put saying, just so you're aware, there's some works going on down the road.
Yep.
There might be a few more vans, so the parking, if there's any problems, any noise, do come let us know. And if you're looking to sell property in this area, please contact blah, 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 blah.
So postcard through.
It's the simplest lead magnet ever. Building relationships, going to the local shops, being branded, making people aware of what you're doing. It's very, very, very targeted because, there's lots of people who've done envelope campaigns, letter campaigns, all that kind of stuff. That's brilliant. If you're only targeting one area, you'll only be targeting in one area.
You can go really deep there, can't you? You can go a mile deep, inch wide.
Exactly.
Everybody knows your name, knows who you are, you're wearing your brand, you're knocking on the doors, that kind of stuff. Everyone's going to think of you first, aren't they?
It's when you get to the point you own an area, when you get the neighbours telling your guys they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Thank you for lifting the area. Thank you for doing works.
Oh, wow.
Our landlord doesn't do what you do. That all looks...
I'll tell your landlord to sell me this property.
But hey, you never know.
Yeah, I'm a little, yeah.
I've had, interestingly, just recently, I've had a chap from a commercial unit come up, and because we were doing works in that area, he's let me know that the landlord are thinking of selling.
Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah, good stuff. Right then. So that's well done. Got through that.
Nice.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you get to ask us a question.
Oh, cool.
So we asked you to. Oh yeah, 2 pieces. Yeah.
You can do two.
Go on.
The other piece, actually buying my own home, it's actually knew the chap I was buying a very established character in Birmingham. And this is a negotiation masterclass in about 20 words. So we'll call him Bob. Bob, what could you do on the price on this? It's been on market for a bit. What's the price you'll accept? He looked at me a bit funny. He said, the price? You don't buy the fucking house, you don't. The price is the price. Wow. So stick to your guns.
Yeah.
It's something you want. Okay, he was a bit blunt and direct about it. But at the same time, there was a level. He knew I wanted to buy it.
Yeah.
And he wasn't going to shift around for a few grand here and there. We're trained to chip the price. But at the same time, when you've got that solidity of knowledge in someone wanting what you got, run with it.
Will you fix the price and sold it to you in the future if you rented off him for a period of time?
that conversation sadly was not. It's not available.
Yeah, did you have to rise? Yeah, 3 or 4 years. Yeah,
it was quite a direct conversation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sometimes you just
I don't know if it was
like third viewing. What are you going to do?
And we had a one of our episodes which is deal finding masterclass, and I explain this as well, which is if you're buying for an investment, that's one thing. If you're buying it for you, it's another.
Yeah,
it's a completely different processing system.
100%.
You don't want the house for the investment. It's like that. You want to know, and you don't want the house. You are buying the house for a particular reason, and it's going to be returning you some money.
A little bit on that.
Well, I just say you can do.
I think one of our episodes that we've done is about buying your own home, whether you should do that.
Yeah,
and one of the benefits we talked about, and I think you've kind of mentioned it, is you bought houses, refurbished them, maybe released equity. I don't know. Use that for your property ventures.
Sure.
So if you're using it as a vehicle for your investment strategy for property, why not treat it the same way to a certain extent? And I get what you mean, that it's a bit more of an emotional thing because you're going to be living in it. You might have your family growing up in it and things like that. But if you can at least combine that a little bit with, having it as a vehicle to then grow your portfolio as a landlord, why not?
I'm pretty sure you had to buy that property because Amy wanted the schools for your
So that was the criteria.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the investment criteria.
This is the investment criteria. It has to be in this area. So I said, all right, it has to be something we have to add value. We can add value to. We can extend. We can refurbish. And she said, all right, that's cool. And I want it in this area for this school.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So that was a criteria.
But there's golden rules, I think, of if you are to buy your own personal, and there's an argument that you rent your personal property and you invest the money.
Yeah,
that's also cool as well. And
the pros and cons.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
Every house I've ever bought, I've been able to add value to. Bar one. And interestingly, that bar one was the one I lost money on as a personal property because it's a bloody off-plan flat.
Oh, really?
When your ego, and your desire for going out and having fun gets more.
Yeah.
Everything else has been added value to massively.
Yeah.
We put 1,600 square feet on my last one, and when you're selling at £400 a square foot, that just makes sense.
Yeah, of course, it really adds up.
We've always had some
like a rent a room scheme. Always had that in place. So there's always been a secondary gain. So I'd encourage anyone when they're looking at a personal purchase, treat it as you would an investment to the point.
Yeah, I agree. That's what that was.
And try not to spend too much on cushions.
Yeah, well, I'll put to it. Right then, so questions. You got a question for us?
Okay, so Phil,
Yes.
what's been interesting is that you've had a relatively short time in property and you've seen an astronomical rise out.
Uh-huh.
If it wasn't property, what vehicle do you think you'd use for your desires and needs and goals?
Yeah, it's a good question. So are we talking, what are we talking about here? Like a financial freedom goal or
Absolutely.
if it wasn't property? So first and foremost, I think business acquisitions would be the one for me. Because if I think about when I started in property, most people are starting on like a level 1, aren't they? Like, so they want cash flow, right? I was the same. So I think I would go out there and find some creative ways to buy some cash flowing businesses from owners, maybe look for something that I could pay them out of the cash flow or whatever, something creative that way. Because
Which
then,
now a lot of businesses are bought.
yeah, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of businesses now just want some money now and sail off in the sunset. But I mean, normally, if you think about how many businesses are actually sold, a lot of them there is consideration. So you can have a consideration retention.
Also, the other aspect is a lot of, say, baby boomers have businesses that run for a long time. They think they just need to, say, wind it down to retire. And then suddenly it's like, oh, actually, I can move out of this business, but like you said, actually for the next few years doing nothing.
Yeah,
that sounds a lot better than just winding it down.
Yeah, so I think that would be
How many are sold?
a few.
Yeah, just close. Yeah,
Yeah.
you just don't know otherwise, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that might even be something I look at. I think it suits me quite well as well.
I think you'd be epic at that.
Yeah, and I think outside of that, if that wasn't available, then it would be day trading. I think something with a bit of fun attached. Something buy low, sell high, play the market, look for the next meme coin, buy at 9 a.m, sell at 11 a.m. That kind of thing. I think that'd be take the emotion out of this stuff and let everyone else keep buying that. Whoever the next famous TikToker is that's about to launch a coin,
Right.
that kind of thing. Yeah, buy their coin at £1 and sell it at £10. Whatever, might have a go at that. But yeah, so that's probably what I would do. But at the moment, I'm obviously very, very busy in what we're doing now. So
Sure. Yeah, right.
no, that's a good question. Oh yeah, it's a good question. Good reflection as well. Actually, I quite like that. I think I might revisit that business.
Pause for a bit there, didn't you?
Yeah, I think
A little bit now, which and I'm surprised because you're very, very capable and very articulate and very on your feet. So
yeah, but that's when you ask me something about something that I know now.
right,
But yeah, I mean, I'm always willing to take that moment to measure. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
brilliant. And Tim, you came over, you partnered with Phil. It's been monumentally successful. If Phil wasn't your partner in this, what do you think you'd be doing?
So I was already in the property space. So the question would be is, I got to say financial freedom-ish goal, like a cash flow goal that allowed me to leave a job. And then the next year from that is when we properly started our portfolio building business, really. So the question would be, at that point in time, what would have I done?
Yes.
I would think I would have kept doing similar sorts of projects, but more on the portfolio side. And then I would have had to maybe think about other things. So it wasn't necessarily in my mindset until we talked about it to create this business. But that collaboration made it work.
Right.
So you never know what other opportunities could have come up or other discussions that could have come up and things like that. Yeah, very, very, very good question. Because before that, I always thought I can sort of retire or whatever and travel a lot and all those sort of things, but I never really understood what that meant, and that it was never in my psyche to actually do that anyway. So it's a bit about just what happens over time. And
It's a hell of a question. It's a hell of a question, isn't it?
yeah,
It's a hell of a question because of how much fun it is.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So how would you replace that part? Do you know what I mean? How do you replace the fun part? And that's the bit because it's not like we don't have to do this, right? We don't have to do it.
Because we're very fortunate that I guess you guys having bump heads and me with Dave and Greg or Akash, people reveal themselves. But it's always interesting to ask the flip side of the coin. And if there were any goals or targets around.
But it's fundamental. So fundamental to our business is like, say, helping other clients achieve that financial freedom and maintain it. So, and then we do it at the moment we're doing it from direct implementation. Right. It's like we find a deal, we deliver it, and then we manage it. So it's a direct thing. So maybe if it wasn't, now that we know that that mission and that purpose is really important, if we weren't doing it, you'd sort of do it in a different way maybe, because that's like really important. But that's because we've gone through that process with the business. So if we hadn't gone through that process, would have I realized that maybe not, or in a different way? Who knows? Very good question.
Brilliant.
Challenging to answer, but
Hopefully I'm glad they came out okay.
Yeah, I don't know how to do. Like, it's such a difficult question, isn't it? You know, it's. I was thinking about myself. Like, you know, I don't know what I'd be doing. Genuinely, it's a hell of a question, to be honest. Yeah, I think a lot of people could look at that and go, "Oh, I don't know."
Yeah,
you know,
because corporate has so long in it, doesn't it? If that's something that you've been involved in, and even self-emp to a degree, I think that can become a bit of a hamster wheel.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you know, it's this year that we are. Our headline strategy on our core property business is like the deal and source and build part is just steady the ship, don't do anything more.
And that's sometimes, you know, tough to make that decision, isn't it? Because you feel that impetus to keep on going.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very, very wise decision sometimes just to put.
You say that, Bill, but the second objective of the other part of the business is double down. Yeah, but by steadying the ship in one part, the other you are still double up into the letting of the management.
Yeah, because they're two business rhythms. So this might only, well, I say only might only do 24 projects this year.
That's a great figure, isn't it?
But then the lettings agency goes like that. Sure. You know, because every time one's delivered, you know, we've got some new tenants. So yeah, it's a great question. I'm not sure. It's and for me, it's that purposeful fun. It's that fun and purpose part, really. I'm not sure how.
But you realise along the way, don't you, that fun and purposeful part as well.
Yeah.
I mean, what was definite was that I did leave the job, and it wasn't because we had the business. It was just because, you know, there was a cash flow goal, and like that was there's an opportunity to transition into doing something, you know, on your own business or self-employed, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, something that you're already really good at and that can really sort of create that good karma in the world. Yeah. You know? So, yeah.
Thanks for the question.
Right then, let's wrap it up. And thank you, huge thanks, Dan. Well worth us coming down to Birmingham to interview you rather than you coming on our podcast in Manchester. But thank you very much. And if you enjoyed that one, how should people get in touch with you? Can they get in touch with you, or is that don't contact me, I'll contact you?
No, absolutely. I'm a little bit giving. Everything goes through email because I don't retain information very well, and I'll have a conversation with someone, and 2 days later, you know, I'm seeing some brightly coloured bits of string or whatever. Email address is dan@roverhomes.co.uk.
Okay, you got a black box one? Black box one?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Sure, it's dan@black-box.uk.
.uk or .uk?
Sorry, it's only literally different play.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Let me double check that. dan@the-black-box.uk.
Right, okay.
Yeah, sure.
Perfect, lovely. Thank you once again, and if you enjoyed that one, please do take a moment to like and or subscribe. Maybe turn your notifications on to get updated when the next episode is released. And thank you very much for spending some time with us today. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Tim. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.
Thank you once again for joining us on the Financial Freedom Podcast, sponsored by us at Property Portfolio Building. If you want to get in touch with us about today's podcast or any of the learning topics that we've gone through today, you can email us at podcast@invest-prop.co.uk or get in touch with us with whichever your social media platform of choice is. If you think you would add value to us as a guest on this podcast, you can please get in touch and let us know what you would be able to talk to us about. Other than that, we wish you well on your financial freedom journeys. And once again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.